Have you ever said to yourself, I'm an introvert, so I suck at networking? You've got to be an extrovert to be good at it, right? Guess what? Extroverts can suck at networking too. It's amazing. Anyone can be good or bad at it. It's kind of like an equal opportunity activity. And the stories that we tell ourselves, the narratives that are in our head end up defining what we will, what we won't do, how we feel about what we can and cannot accomplish, and it shapes our opportunities and our dreams. So if you have internalized the story that introverts are bad at networking, and you know you are an introvert, or people have already always told you you are, then guess what? You're going to think you're going to be bad at networking. And that's a terrible way to start networking. Because whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, or an ambivert, it does not define your skill or your success at networking. Anybody can be good or bad at it. The clarity of your goals, your willingness to develop engaged and supportive relationships, and your commitment to the follow-up, that's what makes you good or bad at it. Your status as an introvert is going to shape how you network, but it has nothing to do with your ability to succeed at it. Now, my name is Maryann Lombardi, and I am a career and leadership development coach and the founder of Find Your Fit. And in today's video, we are going to talk about how to ditch that story that you have been telling yourself about networking and whether you're good or bad at it, right? And how to harness your introversion to build better relationships. So, what are we going to do? We're going to get started right now. So how do we move past this narrative, right? This unhelpful, kind of crappy narrative. First, we have to question that story. When we need to interrogate the stories that you tell yourself. It's an essential step to achieving your career growth goals. To do this, we got to question first what we know by asking ourselves, how many of the stories I tell myself are told to me or created by me? Okay? Where did you hear that introverts are bad at networking? Did you come to that conclusion yourself? Or did you learn it or hear it from somebody else? We view networking as this playground for the extrovert. And we measure our skill and our ability against this outgoing and talkative and confident behaviors we see from that more social set, right? And we assume that the extrovert model is the right way, the best way to build relationships, and therefore we must conform. Yeah, but no, that isn't true. The extrovert model is just one way to approach it, not the only way. Now, we live in a world that is defined by men with long-held standards, expectations, and stories created by men, and we have internalized them and live by them. And networking and the business orientation that it captures has long been the purview of men because our business world is designed around their needs, behaviors, their style. But just because it has been done one way doesn't mean it is the only way. Now, this is not an excuse, it is a reality, okay? It's a context for the business, for the work world environment that we're in, right? And women have been developing relationships since the dawn of time, right? Supporting each other, excelling in a world that wasn't designed for them. And we've been creating informal communities of support long before psychiatrist Carl Jung dropped the terms introvert and extrovert, right, into the early 1900s, right? Relationship building is our strength. Introvert, extrovert, notwithstanding. So, you can reject the idea that introverts are disadvantaged when networking. You can ditch a false narrative, rewrite a new story, and build your networking strategy around your unique skills and circumstances. That is the power that you hold, okay? Next, you're gonna need to identify, to do this, you gotta identify your strengths and your weaknesses, okay? So after you question the story, learn what your strengths and weaknesses are. I used to describe myself as a closet introvert. I love people, but I don't necessarily love all of them in a room simultaneously. I prefer meaningful conversations with a few to working this big room with the many, right? But I do it because I need to, because it makes my life and work better, and because I love people. And my career has always required a lot of social engagement, community building, event creation, and attendance and partnership management, and lots of that, right? And so in the past, I would come home from a full day of all of that and evening events and close the door and stare at a wall to decompress, right? So if the intro and extro conversation ever came up with people, no one ever believed that I was an introvert. So when I was younger, that disbelief fed this pressure to perform as an extrovert, to fit into the mold of someone who would have my visible and outgoing roles, right? And pretending to be something you are not is a bad idea. Can we agree on that? No matter how much pressure you feel, If you don't know who you are, it's worth finding out to avoid that charade. Okay? I'm much happier now that I don't pretend to be an extrovert, right? We want to work with our strengths and our weaknesses. So for example, extroverts are often great at talking with people. They're outgoing, they appear confident in social situations. That doesn't mean they're necessarily good at networking, right? Networking isn't about being outgoing. Certainly, outgoing people who are comfortable talking to other people can be good at networking. But if they have no intent, no strategy, are not good at developing relationships, don't know what to say, or say the wrong things, it isn't going to help them reach their goals. So one of the weaknesses that extroverts have is their lack of planning and their lack of organization, because they talk to so many people that they often don't think more strategically about whom to talk to, whom to follow up with consistently, and their confidence and comfort in social situations leads them to wing it, okay? Therefore, they often build these wide but not very deep networks. Now, my point is not to say that any personality type is better or worse at networking. The fact is, everyone's going to come to networking with their strengths and their weaknesses. And everyone has room to grow. And everyone can grow and succeed. Because networking is a quality over quantity activity. Is it about the quality of the conversations rather than the number of people you talk to or the number of people you have in your network, okay? Next, we got to plan ahead. So once you've questioned your story, you've identified your strengths and weaknesses, it is time to plan ahead. As an introvert, when networking in person or online, preparation is kind of like the introvert's best friend, right? Research the events, the people beforehand. Plan for what you want to accomplish and who you want to connect with, right? Prepare your power statement, which is the answer to what do you do, right? And other answers to questions you are usually asked at events, right? Prepared ahead of time. All of this is going to reduce your anxiety. It's going to boost your confidence because you're going to know what to expect, what to say. You will be less likely to be caught off guard. It's also going to improve your communication because it creates a clear structure or a roadmap for yourself for the conversation, right? Which can make the interactions feel a bit more manageable. This preparation is also going to help you lean into your strengths and of listening, right? And reflective thinking, because preparation allows you to focus on that listening and understanding and contributing valuable insights during the interactions because you are already familiar with the topics of discussion or the person that you're talking to, right? Finally, let's talk about pacing yourself. After you question the story, you identify your strengths and weaknesses, you plan ahead, pace yourself, right? You're going to work your plan and permit yourself to leave or stop when you have accomplished your goal. No matter how important the event is or what peer pressure you might be feeling, doing more than you can or want to do doesn't make you better, right? Doesn't make you better. Your strategy and your intentionality does. Your ability to develop meaningful relationships in business and in life are going to lead you to have a thriving career full of opportunity. None of that requires you to stay longer at events or talk to more people than you are prepared to. Decide your limits, create your boundaries, and stick with them, right? Remember, you want to do what works for you. You don't have to network like anyone else. You get to decide what works best for you. You can find informal opportunities to connect. If the whole big networking events don't work for you, fine. Find the informal ones. If you know that your executive vice president who you want to talk to is in line at Starbucks every morning at 7 a.m, hit the coffee shop, right? You can also arrive at 5 minutes early to meetings to talk to somebody that you want to talk to, okay? You can walk to the train with somebody you know is going your way, and that can be your networking opportunity. Relationship building is never this one-size-fits-all proposition. Don't bother learning to play golf if that's not your thing. Decide what you like. Opera, pickleball, wine tasting, like trendy food. Invite some colleagues out, go do that. Okay, that's an opportunity for networking. You also don't have to go it alone. You could meet a few work friends and head to a company party or an event with them, right? It's fine to work the room in pairs and it can diffuse some of the energy expenditure. And you can play the hype person for the other, right? You know, it's just find your own way. Quick side note. Let's talk about networking online. 70% of networking happens online right now, which is great for introverts. And it's kind of like a playground for you because it's geared towards your strengths. So it's great for networking because it allows you to engage in these professional relationships with a controlled and this comfortable environment, right? Like unlike in-person networking events, which is out of your control, right? You don't control any of it. If you're on LinkedIn, for instance, it provides this flexibility for you to carefully craft messages and responses. It reduces the pressure of that real-time conversation. And that setting enables you to reflect on your thoughts, contribute more thoughtfully, meaningfully. You have time and space to research people and connect with people who have shared interests and, professional goals and all that kind of stuff, which makes that networking process more targeted and less overwhelming. So enjoy the online part of it, right? It also offers you this opportunity to manage your interactions at your own pace, right? Because you choose when to engage, right? How frequently, all of that kind of stuff. So it prevents that social exhaustion that can accompany that face-to-face networking. So through LinkedIn, you can also do all this asynchronous communication, right? You've got direct messages and all of that. So you don't have to be responding immediately to everything and maintaining that kind of stress of immediate interaction. So this flexibility combined with kind of like the vast reach of LinkedIn, it really empowers introverts to expand their networks, while also staying in their comfort zone, okay? So dig into that. Recap. No personality type is better or worse at networking. Everyone comes to networking with their strengths and their weaknesses. Everybody has room to grow, and guess what? Everyone can succeed at it. So we want to move past the narrative that introverts are bad at networking, and to succeed at networking, so you can get your dream job, you need to question the stories you're telling yourself. You need to identify your strengths and weaknesses, work with them, plan ahead, and pace yourself, right? You're going to do it your way. 70% of networking happens online, which provides you the controlled environment, which is great for introverts, okay? So thank you for watching. Subscribe, right? Because you can keep getting more stuff, right? Subscribe. There's a button somewhere. So make sure you do it, and I'm going to see you in the next video.